Okay, hello and welcome to today's episode of oh no, we're changing. As I've become a natural pro bodybuilder, I guess this is just the next step of the evolution. So I haven't thought of a title yet, but I'm thinking of something along the lines of so I wanted to basically turn this into a podcast more than like a random weekly show. So think of it as the road to becoming no. Think of it as the long game, like the title of the podcast, or it takes what it takes. I'm sort of in between those two. Anyway, welcome to today's episode. We're gonna go over what my new training split is, plan shows that I have, current phase of training that I'm in, what my macros are, and then I've put together some questions that I feel like would be very important to help to prompt me into um, having a good topic for discussion. All right, so first things first, I've changed my training split to basically prioritize what I think I'm lagging in. So I think my hamstrings and glutes are basically my worst features. So what I've done is basically, I say basically so much, and I realized as I watched my videos back. Anyway, hamstrings are 2 sessions a week now, and so are glutes. What I've done is just instead of having one dedicated shoulder day, I've split those into two, and just to prioritize it, just to basically put it with side, side delts with chest and then rear delts with lats. I feel like these two go together, and it's very seamless to basically include this at the bottom of my workouts. With glutes and hamstrings, I feel like those two are they're both posterior chain exercises, so it's easy to do them together. But what I've done is try to basically what I've done is try to split them apart and then put the dedicated exercises or the compound movement for each body part um, apart, and then the ones that are sort of, I guess, easy to use as accessory movements together. So on this hamstring day, it will be Romanian deadlifts, and on this glute day, it will be heavy hip thrusts. Whereas on this combination day, it will just be seated hamstring curls and single leg glute bridges, which it doesn't take up as much energy, so I won't be majorly fatigued. Another key point of fatigue is that obviously quads are a very high intensity, high energy required, well, require a lot of energy um, to perform, especially with hack squats and leg press. So what I've done is put that at the end of the week. However, the following session won't be as intense to make sure that I don't feel like I'm basically just constantly um, overexerting myself through the session. And obviously, since I train every single day, I want to manage my energy flow all throughout the week. So what will happen is on a day like abs and arms, it's not exactly energy intensive or anything like that. So it will technically be my rest day, and so really I'm only doing 6 sessions, 6 focus sessions a week, and this will be the rest day. But as I'm doing my splits are upper lower, so lower upper lower upper, it also balances my energy balance so that um I'm not too fatigued when doing the following session. Of course, when it overlaps from quads to hamstrings, there will be a double lower there, but this session isn't as intense as this session, so this will take priority, and I'm okay with this having less effort going towards it because of this. Hopefully that will make sense, and everybody's on board. If it's not, let me know, and I'll try to explain it in a more concise manner. Anyway, big things that I'm more excited about is I've figured out what planned shows I'm going to do for the rest of the year. So initially, it was just going to be the UK Bodybuilding Association British Championships. But as I've thought more about it and how much I enjoyed the show and everything around it, I thought I might as well just figure out a way to make myself be able to do these other two shows. Now, the initial issue was that I'm going on holiday the week before this, and I thought I would like to enjoy the holiday and kind of just take it easy. Now that I've thought about it, and even this past week of taking it easy, eating whatever I wanted, I would much rather win a show than enjoy a holiday, as silly as that sounds. It might sound weird, but honestly, the show is so much more fulfilling than just eating whatever I want on holidays. Food is after you eat enough food, not that it all tastes the same, but it's just all good. But I just feel like you can't really replace the feeling of winning a show. And not to say that I don't love food, because I love food, trust me, but the feeling of winning the show is just right now. It feels so much better, especially since I've experienced both of them in the past 10 days or so. I know which one I want more. I know my my feelings and thoughts will probably change towards this as I get like deeper into a cut. But as now, I feel like I'm of very sound mind, and I'm going to make the decision to go through with the show instead of enjoying my holiday to eat whatever I want. That being said, my initial thought was maybe after the show I'd want to take a break and not, push myself too hard, which is why I also didn't want to do this Two Bros Pro show. However, I know now that I've sort of got a mindset understanding that as a not just as a pro, but as an athlete who loves bodybuilding, you just have to do what it takes to basically achieve your goal. And that's why I came up with the idea of it takes what it takes, and what it takes to win the show is to do the supernatural show and immediately stay on track, follow through for another couple more weeks, and go to the next show and put my best foot forward. The other reason why this show is important though is because it basically allows me to become an IFBB pro. Every federation, I believe, have their own pro cards, but I'm not sure if they're weighted equally. But I know for sure that IFBB Pro card is the most revered or the highest priority. So as none of these shows can provide me with that, I have to basically do the IFBB Pro card. And another thing is that I want to build up on that momentum that I've had on this year to basically solidify the best pro card of the year. The idea for that as well is that because I'll have basically this will be my amateur season all throughout the year. I'll be an amateur because I won't have like activated any pro cards. I won't get another chance to do this again, basically. And I kind of want to enter this as an amateur so that when I do my pro debut or like the first time I do a pro show, it's actually like a really big special event for me, and also just kind of like I think that's a thing to do where people kind of celebrate their pro debut and see how they do. For example, I know there's one guy who's doing a pro show in Toronto this year. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's Toytan, something like that. But anyway, he's doing his pro debut in, I think it's September or maybe late August, and that's like a big thing. So I kind of want to have that special experience as well, where I will do a whole off season and train and kind of build up the momentum, and then put my best foot forward to the show. That being said, also I've had a look at this show, and I will enter as a light heavyweight. So going forward, I'm definitely just going to do bodybuilding. Like, as much as I love the idea of classic, I believe my frame is very much a bodybuilding frame, and especially like one of my benefits is that I'm just so big. However, if I come across somebody who is the same size as me but has a better classic physique, then I will definitely lose to them. Whereas in bodybuilding, I'm pretty sure I can hit the weight cap, and then at that point, it's just about how much I match the category, as opposed to somebody who looks better, somebody who matches the category more than me. So long story short, I'm going to be doing bodybuilding going forward as the category, but then the weight class will change depending on how I look or feel on the on the day. Obviously, I plan to be. I don't really know how every single federation partitions their weight, but I know that the one that gives me an IFBB Pro card puts me at a light heavyweight class if I come in at around 198 pounds, which is around like 88, I think. Yeah, I think it's 88 kg, which is what I plan to show up on stage, especially by the time I get here. Even if I don't make 88 by here, I definitely would have, just by continuing the diet and going further. Speaking of the diet, I guess I'll go into that first or next. What I'm doing right now is I'm basically in a recovery phase, and what that is just trying to get myself back to a regular routine for the cut. So last week I only trained twice. This week I've trained every day. So for Monday, Tuesday, I want to train today. I haven't started my cardio yet, but the idea of this is just to sort of establish that routine of training every day first, and then next week is when I'll be back into the I guess the first phase of my prep phase for the whole year, or for the rest of the year. So for that reason, my calories are very high. So this is not even maintenance. It's definitely higher than maintenance, but I know because I just got such a big year ahead of me, it won't matter how rough my calories are for this month, or for this week, not this month. But actually, the calories for this month definitely doesn't matter. So my calories are higher for this week, and they were even higher last week. But I'm basically tapering it down to the point where next week I'll be able to go back down to roughly 2,500, and then following week after that go back down to 2,000. So I'm in a recovery phase now. Technically next week could be prep, but I'm going to call it. Well, yeah, I guess yeah. Technically next week will be prep, but it still will be higher than deficit macros, just because I need the time to basically like streamline the calories down. And then also next week I'll be interested in cardio again. I don't want to immediately go into a deficit while I'm introducing cardio. Hopefully that all makes sense. All right. Last thing I'm going to do is cover the kind of like questions that you guys might have. So once again, I asked GPT for these questions just to kind of like give me an idea of what to cover in case I miss anything. That said, if there's any more questions that anybody has, just drop it in the comments and I'll add it onto here for next time. So, where am I at physique wise? Not very good. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm basically fat again. So it's not exactly like I've gained. I haven't checked the scale or anything. Like I don't want to mess up my mental, but I've definitely gained a lot of like inflammation and water in my tissues, all these kind of things. It's expected, and I think I spoke about it as well. And I know I'm definitely going to be way overweight by this this point of the program. Well, this point of the phase. I'm just going to basically not check the scale and get back to tracking first up until I feel comfortable enough to check the scale. Hopefully by the end of the month I can do that, but if it's sooner, even better. If not, then I just have to by by 1st of July I have to check the scale just to know that I'm moving in the right direction. Okay, yeah, but that being said, physique wise, I look like a blob. I look like, and especially um, because I've shaved everything. Like I look even worse than if I was. When you're covered with hair, you can look a certain type of way. But when you're hairless, you can see everything, and it's very clear that I'm just overweight at this point. But I'm not too concerned. Um, Post-show dieting, I think I'm onto that. So what I've eaten actually, it hasn't been too far off what I planned. So um, on the day of, I had like my tiger bread sandwiches, all this kind of like water spreads. I had like some Chinese food on the day of as well. The following day, I had a bunch of pastries, but not too much, kind of like a reasonable amount. And I've basically eating pastries like a healthy amount on a daily basis, and then having like basically meeting up with friends, having a good time, enjoying food, and just not tracking my macros at all. But if there's chocolate there, I'm gonna eat it. If there's like pizza, I'm gonna eat it. Anything that's around, I'm eating it. Yeah, yesterday, my friend asked me to go for lunch. Usually, I'll just say no. Now I realize I'm actually not in prep, so I can say yes to it. So honestly, I'm just eating anything that comes my way and having a good time with it. Yeah, so back in the gym, the first session felt really rough, and I didn't even try to like push my weights or anything. I just wanted to basically fill out my. So because I've got a new routine, I did chest. The first session I did was chest session. I actually didn't continue with the side delts. I felt so fatigued after doing the chest that I just kind of put it aside, knowing that I'll do it the following week, which was yesterday, and I did do both sessions. So I felt really weak, very lethargic, felt very out of place, and I just filled out my workout log with anything that I could do rather than trying to push myself to the limit because there's still a whole load of prep to go. Um, any post-show lows. So apparently this is very common where people feel so obviously because everything building up to prep has felt really tense and all consuming. But then by the time you do the show, everything feels great, grand. After the show, you don't like that drop in, I guess, enthusiasm, expectation can lead people to feel very low and minorly depressed. For me, I haven't felt that because I still know that I have a long road ahead. I might feel it by the time I get the IFBB Pro card, but I doubt it because that's around Christmas time, so it's going to be a great time of year anyway. I think it's important for people to sort of be able to have self-talk and let themselves know that there's more to life than, I guess, winning and losing this thing. I think if I lost, my approach would be different. But because I won, I'm sort of riding that high and that momentum of winning to the next shows. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I don't lose any more shows and feel like crap. All right. Yeah, the idea of actually being able to win 4 shows in 1 year, crazy. Especially as I'm self-coached, it feels amazing. and I'm hoping that actually does happen. I feel like I have a high chance to win this show. This one will be very tough. This one will be even more tough, but I'm gonna look way better by this. Like this point, it might be sketchy, but as the time goes by, these shows are basically 2 months apart. The progress that I can make in 2 months without having any, because I'm not gonna have any time off or give myself any cheat meals between this or cheat days or anything like that. I can tell that I'm just gonna look so much better that my win is almost guaranteed. But yeah, that's just me being not cocky, but believing in myself. Anyway, so yeah, serious prep starts next week basically, or maybe even the week after if you want to say serious, because I'll be doing cardio, but my calories won't be as low as they might be for an actual prep. Okay, what am I doing right now to make the next prep better than the last one? So honestly, what I've done, what I'm going to focus on going forward is just to know that I can't slack and I can't really give myself any leg room, not because I can't afford it, but because I want to look even better. I definitely can afford, like, not in a bad way, but I can afford to slack. Like, it's not the end of the world if I have, let's say, a a cheat day or a refeed day halfway through or 2 weeks before the show day. It's more that I shouldn't, one, as a habit forming thing, just to sort of like let myself understand that I can't take this, I can't slack, can't take it easy on myself. But then also, I can look so much better if I don't have those days off, as the idea of um, consistency starts to compound. I'll look even better without, yeah, the, the backward steps, basically. Hopefully that makes sense. I said basically again, oh my God. Okay. What does the audience need to know to follow the journey properly? Okay, that's just, I guess, yeah. If you want to follow the journey, you can watch my shorts on here or go on my Instagram at it's.adamola. Dot is in the sign, not dot. That's basically where I'll be updating my like weekly. Well, I do daily reels on there, but also like it's kind of a bit more of a more personal approach to follow the journey, because I'll post stories and stuff like that. Anyway, that is all. If you got to the end of this and actually think about and want to think about doing bodybuilding, I want to start bodybuilding coaching. So if you're interested, feel free to drop me a message and we can work together. All right, that's it.